people still going to Union Station? I mean, it's just blossomed in the past years.
Yeah, it's amazing that people in St. Louis and outside of St. Louis, soccer games are sold out, 22,000. Union Station has had record years through the pandemic, and currently we'll do over 1 million people every year through Union Station. They enjoy it. We have secondary police in our facility. We'll have 6 policemen 24 hours a day to make sure that when you're going in there, you know it's safe. As a private business, anybody that is carrying a gun is not allowed in Union Station. And anyone 18 or under after 5 o'clock have to be accompanied by a parent. So we have rules that the state of Missouri doesn't have, but Kara Spencer in the city has just passed a bill, as you're well aware, that if a person has a gun on them, the police can say, do you have a permit? And if they don't, they can take the gun away and they can be arrested. So I think that has a lot of teeth in it.
Yeah, it certainly appears to be a start at getting a handle on the problem. For perspective, and I will say that when it comes to talking about a crime problem, I've been at the Post-Dispatch for 33 years now, and I've been writing crime stories for 33 years. Mm-hmm. It's a concern now, just like it's always been. And I think it comes down to, when people ask me, it's that in a very general sense, we want a lot of things, but mainly we just want to feel safe. I mean, there's things we like in a hotel or a Union Station. We like these attractions, so on and so forth. But what I really want to do is feel safe while I'm here. And I'll have my own fun, and I'll find the clubs I like and everything like that. But walking from point A to point B, I want to feel like I'm not putting myself in danger. And when you see crime statistics going up, and now we have some problem because apparently the city has not been reporting correctly what the crime figures are. So everybody who was touting that crime was going down, that may not be the case because of problems in the uniform crime reporting that we're having with the FBI now. But the crime is going up, and when you hear about it and they'll say, well, it's okay if I stay out of the city. Well, as crime goes up in the city, it also goes up in the surrounding areas, if not by the same amount, by a little bit. It's not like crime pays attention to a border.
Right.
Like, I will commit a crime on this side of the street, but I won't go across the street. It's not like that. So it's one of those, when if crime is going up in this area, it ponds out, the old pebble in a pond effect. It's going to ripple out.
It's so true. And Bob, over the years, whenever a news crew would pull out, people always said the same thing. We never thought it could happen here.
Yeah, this is true, and I think to answer your question and how it gets solved is obviously how people feel safe if they see police presence. You want to see police, you want to see crowds. As I say, if you go down to a soccer game right across from Union Station on a Saturday night, you see people, it's like World Series 7th game, crowds having fun, and criminals pretty much have cell phones, and they will text each other, and if they see a crowd and they see police, they go someplace else. And consequently, I think it's a region problem. It's actually a problem in the United States, where you've got to go about and put a priority, not defund the police, but support the police and have plenty of police, and then have plenty of crowds, and then people will feel safe. And I agree with you, Joe, 100%. They just go where there's no police and there's no crowds, and they will commit a crime. So I put in a lot of money into lighting downtown because I felt that's one way the business could do it. And I actually took the idea from St. Louis University. I love the little arch. And so we put in all of that attractive lighting down there to light the streets. So when you walk down a dark alley, you start to feel unsafe no matter where you are. But if it's lit, you see people, you see police, and I think as people that love St. Louis, I think get behind that and really push more police. We're talking about what are we gonna spend the 250 million on that we got from the Rams settlement. I would say first, second, and third, I would hire more police, I'd put more lighting downtown, and I'd have more events downtown. Support the convention center, support the baseball team, the soccer team. Obviously, this is a plug, support Union Station. And we can make our region very safe.
When you talk about that, I just recently wrote a column about that. They've kicked off a process, a 4-part process on how to spend the 250 million. And the first phase of that was to question people as to what they saw the concerns were in the city. A couple thousand people went in and filled out the survey online, and about 400 and change left then remarks afterwards of how would you spend it. The office of Megan Green, aldermanic president, has kind of been running the show on this, conceded that 40% of the people who made a suggestion specifically mentioned public safety. So out of 2,000 people filling out a survey and 400 something people, 40% talked about public safety, and what they meant were, we want to see more police and some other things too. We want to see traffic laws enforced. And so, you know, the idea is when we look at all these big picture things that we're going to do with money and massive changes, those make sense, but it's clear that at least the residents of St. Louis, and my guess by extension, St. Louis County, when they say we'd like improvements in our justice system so that it's more fair and equitable for people, agreed. You know, and we'd like to see more programs for the mentally challenged, agreed. Nobody said, however, let's exchange that and do away with police and fixing our streets. It was in addition to.
Right.
It was not, you know, and I think that because the basic bottom line when it comes to city services, county services, is they would like to see a lot of improvements in things. That does not mean they don't want their streets fixed, their garbage picked up, or they want police on the corners.
Right.
Those things remain constant.
Well, Joe said he's been writing crime stories for 33 years, Bob, and I'm interested in your opinion about news coverage. I was in the news business for decades, and I understand the nature of news. But when we have texters on our text line who say, I'm afraid to go to the Fox, what's your personal opinion about news coverage? Does it skew people's vision of how things really are?
Oh, absolutely. I think I actually moved here from San Francisco, everybody's favorite city, and this was in the late 70s. And the news out there was everybody's favorite city, no matter what went on out there. When I moved to St. Louis, I thought I had moved to Mayberry RFD because it was so safe. But if there was one incident, it became a big deal to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll have to give a plug. Recently, I've spent a lot of time with Chief Tracy. I think that was a great hire by the city of St. Louis. I think Gabe Gore as a prosecutor. I know some of the problems we've had of recent years. If I'm a policeman and you're not going to prosecute somebody I arrest,
Yes.
That is a big problem. I think we've solved two really big problems in our city, and I think you just have to deal with crime as it should be dealt with crime.
Well, and as you mentioned earlier, Bob, all cities are having this problem. 2 representatives have been carjacked in the nation's capital, and what's going on in San Francisco now, from what we read, is really difficult too, crime-wise.
Yeah, we know people, obviously in our industry, we talk to all of the people that own hotels out in San Francisco. And one of the most popular hotels, the Hilton out there, was given back to the lender, basically because of all of the problems that are in San Francisco, where you can steal up to $1,000. Now, who came up with that idea, I don't know.